law enforcement in general. Because I think I've been under investigation for probably like 8 years now. Maybe longer than that. And here's the deal. Either they just are not doing shit, or they're literally colluding with over border collusion, colluding with whatever mafia affiliated groups there are. But holy shit, I'm freaking tired right now. I don't even know why I'm talking, but the thing is I talked about this last night, but frankly, I think that the executive branch is obviously being used for abuse of power. And the thing is the legislative branch, the Congress, they really aren't contributing to fucking shit. They aren't contributing to shit that is effective, is what I should say. Because if they were effective leadership, they would simply give somebody a trial. But what they do is what I would call fabrication. It's a fake narration, a type of fraud. They'll pay their actors to pretend out something, and really it's just a way to not get fucking sued. And anyways, I was going over that and excuse me. Here's the thing, too. It's fabrication, fraud, suable, and they do that simply to keep their rigged, I would say occult leadership at the top, because they literally do not give a shit about anybody, I promise you. They're saying what people want to fucking say, and there is censorship, not passed by one person, but it's passed by Congress, because the thing is for laws to pass, I'm pretty sure, 2/3 of the votes have to pass. So it's not, obviously not, it's just Democrats are just, and they're just pretending. They're faking shit. And the thing is Snowden already whistle blew about all this. And here's the deal. I already said this, but he only hit the tip of the iceberg. What he did, because here's the thing, Congress does what he whistle blew about. Even though they made it out like the executive branch is the only one doing it. And, they made it out like, the executive branch is telling them, and they just don't know what they're doing, because that's a bunch of horse shit. Because Congress has the ability to oversee what law enforcement is doing. I don't know what the limits are on certain documentation, but I'm sure they have it, because they absolutely participate in what I would call fabricated narration of what is the actual case. And they're saying all this shit. If somebody's been investigated for 7 to 8, 9 years, and while, Trump might be lying his fucking ass off, the amount of things I've seen, he might be fabricating the fact that he's under investigation. I don't know, man. But the thing is I think there's been an investigation on me personally for like 7, 8, 9 years. And every single time I try and talk to law enforcement about it, they won't release shit. They'll give me an attitude when I fucking talk to them. And they don't release information to me, which I have a right. I have a right to do that. I've called congressmen. More specifically, I've called Earl Blumenauer. They don't answer shit. And they'll say shit like, I can't do anything, which it's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie from hell. They just don't want to do anything, probably because they're black-collar congressmen, politicians working for overseas. And there's so much shit they do to sabotage shit. I feel like I've had my shit sabotaged like 8 fucking times by law enforcement and NATO allies of the United States that our crooked-ass fucking politicians are enabling. And and you have people like Trump talking about, oh, I'm going to clean the swamp and all this. Well, how are you going to clean the swamp if you're doing what the swamp is doing? How are you going to clean anything when you're not following the law with what you do? Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any authority anymore being outside of the White House now. So it's like, I see things and it's like, why is he making decisions when he's not even in a political position? And when you really think about it, he's probably looked into my case and they've been looking at it for years now with zero progress. And that's saying a lot, because what it's saying is they're wasting a lot of money. And they're making no progression with anything. And they go to that extent where it's like, why have they not been like, okay, here's the court date. Here's your 6th Amendment right, but they deprive information from going out, like incompetent law enforcement. Like I said, it's not just the legislative, it's the executive branch too. And I say, the legislative branch is enabling it, but the executive branch also is not giving people their rights. It's like, I've been saying it, it's upside down America. You have politicians saying, oh, they're stealing our country. Well, there really isn't a whole lot of liberty here in America anymore. And when you compare it to Iraq or something, yeah, maybe we have more liberty than Iraq is, where they'll behead you, for believing in Jesus or something. But honestly, they might do that here. They'll just do it secretly, and they're just waiting for the right moment, to be 100% honest. But anyways, it's obviously a congressional problem too. Because I could tell you I would do things a whole lot differently than a lot of these congressmen would, because I think a lot of them are working with collusion. They're working with all these people that are agents for foreign nations, because at this point, people will say all this shit about, oh, America is corrupt. Well, Americans aren't really running America right now. So don't blame the Americans. Blame the black-collar politicians and authorities. And, it might be... The thing is they don't come up with anything effective. They don't come up with anything that could be like, okay, we'll be finished in a month's time through court processes. But instead, they'll go on 7 to 9 fucking years on one investigation with no leads, with nothing. Because if there was anything, I would be in jail. And I'm not. So they're doing all that shit. And I actually think law enforcement is working with some of these freaking gangbangers around here, to be honest, because they do all this shit freaking under the table. But you think about it. If I look at Congress right now, and the cases that the Democrats are pulling against Trump, if I were to pull Trump into court for violating my privacy rights and all this other shit, he would have a real conviction and not a fake one. He would have a real one. And frankly, it looks to me like they fabricate so much shit to where they mock, like, fraudulently. Like, they'll put some girl up on like a trans man and hinting like you're a girly SOB up in the news, on their, rigged little pulpit up there. And, they'll try and front like you're immature, but the reality of the matter is it's literal fraud. And they do everything they can, they do everything they can to prevent you from going to court. Because I've talked to attorneys, and most of them say, "Oh, I haven't dealt with that." But honestly, I think that might just be a bunch of fucking bullshit. Because I think some of these lawyers are probably being paid off by the mafia or some shit. Because there's obvious fraud going on, and I don't really believe that there's going to be effective leadership solutions being brought by current politicians, because all they're thinking about is something that'll get them more votes, and they're not thinking about bringing something that will contribute to a solution. Because it's, because this whole case could have been done like 7 years ago. But they want to play this broken ass fucking record nonstop. And their abuse of power, their misconduct ass mugs, hacking through shit, sabotaging shit. Like I said, they've sabotaged things that I have multiple times. It might be coordination with overseas too, but that's another thing. If the country was ran how it's supposed to be ran, probably a lot of these politicians would be impeached simply by colluding with overseas. And I would say NATO allies and whatnot. Because a lot of these politicians, they look like they've been fabricating and talking about me, to be 100% honest. And when it comes down to it, I think they would look stupid if I actually showed up there. And that's exactly why they do it the way they fucking do it. And they can say all this shit, "Oh, I'm trying to do my job." They're full of fucking shit. They're crooked ass pieces of fucking shit. Reality of the matter. They lie. It's fabrication. And it's all watched by the executive branch on top of it. Because, if they had a real mayor or something like that, there'd be a lot of police fired for contributing to fabrication through fake narration. And really what it is fake narration to try and brainwash. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that. I personally would not endorse a single politician right now, because I could name probably 20 plus politicians that I think have looked into my case, and none of them have come up with a single solution. None of them have invited me to come talk to them. None of them have been like, "Okay, we're going to pass a bill. Okay, we're going to give you a court case like you're supposed to fucking have through the Bill of Rights." But really all they do is pander and bullshit and just add to their politics that contribute to zero but their fucking vote count. Because really when it comes down to it, all that is needed is an objective leader that can actually fucking do something rather than collude. And like I said, Trump isn't the only one. He doesn't have any authority. How the hell is he able to spy on shit right now? That's collusion. How I think Tulsi Gabbard has talked about my case, and she's over there from Hawaii, exactly where freaking Snowden whistle blew about the way they spy on people. And then Tulsi Gabbard comes out of there, and she sounds like she's heard every other word I've said. She came out of the freaking hornet's nest over there, freaking exactly where everything was whistleblown and proven that they do exactly what he said they did. But anyways, they can frame it like it's espionage, but really what it is some fat hog at the top just wants to be above the law, and that's it. A few fat hogs, I would say. Like, because people have fucking rights, and people have a right to have fair protection under the law as well, which is what they're trying to take away. They're trying to take away just about everything. Not a single politician. They all play with their horse shit. These biased ass movements. But really, when the reality matter comes down to it, if there was a simple leader, with simple and objective solutions, that person would win. And anyways, I think I'm a lot smarter than a lot of the politicians. Honestly, I don't know if I could name a single politician that is smarter than I am, to be honest. But that might be saved for if I were to talk to some of them. But I don't really think any of them are smarter than I am, to be honest. But that might sound cocky, but the reality of the matter is what have they contributed to with this case? Have they contributed to a solution? They haven't. How long has this been going on? 5+ years? 6+ years? And they still haven't come up with a solution. What does that say? What is their pay going to? What is the tax dollars going to? What is that contributing to? So they can pretend like they're doing justice and pretend like they're doing the right thing, like a fucking child. They're literally the way that seems right to a man, doing all that shit. And, it's really not, they're not coming up with any solutions. And that's probably exactly why I'm not up there talking, because I'll actually tell the truth. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that. Regarding that, because I think there's an investigation that's been going on a long time. They don't release information on it simply because they know they'll lose if they do. And it's ridiculous. Because there's a point in time where, if I was a police officer, I'd be like, okay, if there's been 7 years and there's nothing convictable and there's no patterns of crime or anything, why the hell am I still here? Is what would go through my mind. And then, I look at what politicians are saying, and there's a bunch of biased-ass motherfuckers, like they're trying to push me to go overseas and try and frame it like I'm a foreign national or something, but the reality is I was born here. Because they want to push me out because they know they can't get me through the judicial. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because why the hell have they not talked to me directly? And they do it through spying just so that they could use me the entire fucking time. Like a fucking pharaoh from ancient Egypt. Like a pharaoh with plagues. They literally have plagues. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that, because none of them really give a shit about anybody. They'll have their rigged little sold souls go up on the freaking stage with them, and just so they can pretend like they're doing something productive. So anyway, that's what I'm going to say about that.